Alright guys, what's going on? I'm here today with another episode in bodybuilding podcast with me, okay, Joan Sagala. So, today we're gonna discuss about will Olympia company, Mr. Olympia fire and canceling Shawn Ray. We're gonna hear from the Dan Salomon as a president of the Mr. Olympia on the Cutler podcast, Cutler cast, and he give his thought and he give his answer to all of us. Before we go jump up into it, please click the bell button and let's go. We heard and we see and we watching together what Dan Salmon as a president Mr. Olympia will doing and take it the response to Shawn Ray. Let's go. We jump up into it, guys.
There's been a lot in the news lately about our good friend Shawn Ray.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Shawn Ray thing because it's amazing how my phone blew up on that one.
Of course, it's gonna be happening without question, Dan. Okay, it will be happening without question because at the same time you're the president, Mr. Olympia, and all of the people want to know more. Okay, want to see what your thought and what your opinion as a president to Mr. Olympia about Shawn Ray because Shawn Ray work with you, Dan.
It seems like on some level, anything that happens, it makes its way across my desk on some level, and we take it all pretty seriously. We do. The Shawn thing was interesting, and it got me thinking because, for starters, I want to be clear about something because I know there's folks who watch these shows and listen to these shows, and they love to get those sound bites. So I want to be really clear.
Yes, to be clear, Dan, to be clear. That's what we want and that's what we expected from you as a president. Come on, please, to be clear to us.
I don't agree with most of the things that Shawn said. I want to be crystal clear about that. Shawn says things all the time that I don't agree with. And it got me thinking when Shawn's comments went out there and then people were reaching out to Jake Wood, who of course owns the Olympia and Muscle and Fitness, and they were reaching out to all sorts of people talking about the idea of firing Shawn and canceling Shawn. That was a big conversation, and it still is.
Listen, Shawn Ray, listen, okay? Shawn Ray, if you watch this video, listen to Dan Salomon, okay? As your president in your company, Mr. Olympia. He don't agree with you. Listen to Dan, okay? Don't just go out there and say anything what you want. Say anything the piece of shit like you normally.
And it got me thinking, you guys will appreciate that, you especially, Jay. Do you remember years ago when every time any of us did interviews, whether it was myself or Bob or athletes, we were always accused of being puppets, remember? They would always say that our words were being controlled, that on some level the leaders or the leadership was telling us what to say.
Sponsors sometimes.
Right. And that was always a big deal. There was always a talk that everything that was put out there was controlled and managed and censored, right? That was the big thing. And now here we are. A few years ago, I took the job doing what I do, and I know Jake feels this way as well. We've worked really hard to shift that vibe. We've worked really hard to give people who have opinions the freedom to express them.
What's the meaning of the control, what you said then? Okay, what's the meaning of the control? Okay, what's the meaning of the manage, like you said? Okay, do you think when you see, okay, when you watch the Shawn Ray go out there and talking the piece of shit, okay, Like he's normally, I'm sure you all know, okay, he always doing the same thing from years to years. It's not the first time, it's not the twice, it's not the three times, so many times, okay. I'm sure you already know before. What's the meaning of what you say? What's the meaning of the control of the manage? Do you think when you employ Shawn Ray and trust Shawn Ray to give his opinion and thought out there about what the recently happened in the bodybuilding world, do you think you control some kind like the company, Mr. Olympia? Do you think that's the managed from the company? Think about that, Dan. Okay, think about that. Discuss again with the Jackwood. Okay.
And it's a really important thing because there was a long time where folks who did the things that Shawn Ray does, or even let's think about the other opinion givers out there, the Palombos and the Romanos and all these guys that have opinions, guys that I have tremendous respect for, by the way. They say things all the time that I don't agree with, all the time. And I remember there was one time where I think Romano said something about our dear friend, the late Peter McGuff, in which he called him out for his alcohol consumption. It was something that he had said, and I didn't appreciate it because I'm a close friend of Peter, and I have tremendous respect for him and what he's all about, and I didn't really appreciate those comments. But I also understood that at that particular moment, John Romano had something he wanted to say, and while I didn't agree with what he said, while I didn't appreciate what he said, I didn't call up anybody and ask anybody to fire him.
Well, okay, that's the news. Okay, that's the I think the news from the back then. Okay, when John Romano said anything bad with Peter McGuff. Okay, but come on, Dan, come on. It's already past. It's already past, and we talking about the recently happened. We talking about the recently. All right, of course, you're right. Okay, you give the John Romano for the example, right? Well, I could agree with that. But please, we're focusing on Shanre right now, and we as a fan want to know more what the company, what the Mr. Olympia will doing. Okay, will Mr. Olympia doing something to Shanre about these things? Okay, about what he's already does. We just want to know more. Then please telling us the truth.
I actually, on many levels, appreciated the fundamental idea of his freedom to express his thoughts. And to this day, John happens to be one of my favorite people. I have tremendous respect for his opinions. I don't agree with a lot of what he says, or Dave, or many other guys out there. And I'm sure many of them don't always agree with what I say.
I think I'm gonna discuss with all of you guys tomorrow. I think because Dave Palumbo and John Romano and who else? And Chris Acito. Okay, Chris Acito have already give their thought and their opinion on Dave Palumbo show RX Muscle, right? About do Mr. Olympia have to canceling or firing Shawn Ray, or maybe Shawn Ray have to replace from the company, and we gonna discuss and talking together, and I'm gonna put out the videos tomorrow, I think. And yeah, that's the information to all of you, right? Can't wait to discuss and talk with all of you guys. Okay, we as a fan, we can discuss. Okay.
But I really, really work hard to provide a culture where the folks who work for me and the folks who work throughout this industry are given the freedom to say what they have to say, even if it makes people uncomfortable at times. And even if I disagree with many of the things that they say, I think we should all stop and take a step back and be very careful about asking folks to be canceled or fired, because a lot of the people who are asking for certain people to be canceled or fired are the people who they themselves are some of the most intensely questionable opinion givers out there.
I know what you mean, Dan. I know what you mean. Just to be on point, Dan. Just to be on point. Don't talking going too far, okay? Don't talking too much. You don't need to talking everything, okay? Just on point. I know the company like you, Dan Salomon, as a president, and Jack Wood, okay? You don't want to firing and canceling Shawn Ray, right? Okay? Because what? Because Shawn Ray, I think, could be the Mr. Olympia company, right? Or maybe side of the Olympia could bring some kind like the up news, okay? Because Shawn Ray have the big mouth. Because so much people want to see what's kind of like the Shawn Ray opinion, what Shawn Ray gonna talk about this recently news, about this news. Because we all know Shawn Ray have the big mouth, okay? Shawn Ray always trash talking, love to making the drama at the first place. We all know, okay? And you want to use Shawn Ray to your company, and your company can blow up from them, from that things. I know what you said and I know what you mean, okay? Come on. If you're talking these things to people who don't understand, okay, who don't really understood what you mean, of course they not gonna thinking the same like me, okay?
So I always just say, let's celebrate our freedom to express ourselves. It's okay, Matt, if you say something today that people don't agree with. And it's okay if somebody has a problem with what I'm saying right now. Instead of saying, let's fire that person, let's cancel that person, let's discuss their opinions. Let's use it as an opportunity to have dialogue. And let's use it as an opportunity to open up new types of communication. And I think that's something that got lost in all this stuff with Shawn. Crystal clear, I don't agree with the things that Shawn said in the interview in which he was being scrutinized for. And I reached out to Shawn and had a very strong conversation with him about the things that were said.
Yeah.
But that conversation did not include termination, firing, or canceling. It included a message of sensitivity, a message of respect, because I think everybody in this industry deserves that. But at the same time, and I know Jake agrees with this wholeheartedly, we celebrate your freedom to opinion, and we celebrate just the overall shift in how far we've come over the last few years in terms of not censoring people, not limiting their ability to give opinions, not making people afraid to give an opinion for fear that they are going to be terminated.
2 point here, Dan Salomon. Okay, 2 point. You said you already discussed and make it the conversation with Shawn Ray about you don't agree with that, and you talking about the termination of the sensitivity and all of that, not included the firing or canceling. Okay, I get it. Okay, but do you think just by that you're doing the things, it's enough? Okay, it's enough to realize Shawn Ray, this typical guy, this typical human, Shawn Ray, and can get understand and change their attitude, change the way he said, the way he give the opinion, go out there to all of the competitors and to all of the bodybuilder what recently happened, okay? Do you think that's enough to change the Shawn Ray habit and attitude? Think again, okay? Think again. We talking about Shawn Ray, okay? This typical guy who already get upset by all of the people from years to years, who the most hated, have the most hated because his attitude and his talking about and his mouth by himself. Okay, we talking about Shawn Ray. Okay, do you think that's enough? What do you think? Okay, let's celebrate and give all of the people opinion to freedom without any some kind like the fear to give their opinion. Okay, if you say it like that, okay, please, okay, give me freedom to give my opinion. Okay, my opinion is, if you really give me freedom as a fan in bodybuilding, what about I give my opinion to firing and canceling Shawn Ray? Okay, what about that? Well, you said you give me the freedom, okay? You give to all of us the freedom, right? My opinion is, what about firing and canceling Shawn Ray and replace the Shawn Ray right now on the company? What about that?
And if we enter into that place again, where people used to criticize us of being, that would be a major step backwards. So hopefully people can understand that.
Okay, that's the end up topic about Jay Cutler and manager Matt and Dan Salomon to talking about Shawn Ray controversial. Okay, Shawn Ray controversy and recently happened. What the news about Shawn Ray, right? So yeah, what's my opinion is, yeah, that's a positive things and that's a negative things. There is both side things. Can we get in the Dan Salmon said and Dan Salmon give us the result about what's kind of like all of the stuff on the company, Mr. Olympia, Muscle and Fitness and Digital Muscle Media, etc. The company, right? Talking about Shawn Ray and Dan Salomon give us the result about the discussion. And yeah, that's the result. They just give Shawn Ray talking and discussing, and just a reminder to Shawn Ray about what he's doing from Shawn Ray doing before, right? And yeah, I think that's not enough because yeah, at the end of the things, at the end of the day, it's just the business. It's just the business things, guys. Okay. Of course, Jack Wood, Dan Salmon, they don't want to lose their money. They don't want to feel like they really lost everything just to firing Shawn Ray, because we all know Shawn Ray back in the day have really good experience, a really good job, a really good all of the things. Okay, I'm gonna say Shawn Ray is really have the good title, good championship back in the day, right? But yeah, that's the result. Okay, that's Dan Salmon said to all of us. Of course, I don't agree. Okay, I don't agree, and I cannot standing with this statement, with this result. But yeah, we cannot expect more, guys. We cannot expect more. That's the result, and that's the things we can hurt. So guys, what do you guys think? We can talking and discussion together. If you love this video, please click the bell button, subscribe, like, comment, and share. I'm gonna bring more everything and anything the news podcast, and we can talking discussion about the knowledge maybe in the bodybuilding world division, so we can going and improve our knowledge in bodybuilding. Thank you so much guys for watching. I'm your host Joan Sagala, sending out. May God bless you all.